Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here, stopping by, clicking the video, passing on through, waiting, pausing just a moment, sticking around for a second, and then listening to the music, and then you can proceed on with your day. But I appreciate you stopping on into my channel. Today we're going to listen to a little bit of Flying Colors. We're going to listen to this track, Cosmic Symphony. This is coming off of their album, Second Nature, appropriately, their second studio album, which was released in 2014. We're listening to this track because it was suggested and sponsored by Kelly. Kelly, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you so much for the support as well. I truly appreciate that. Listen, so the band Flying Colors, so it's a super group because I can't help but see it when I pull up the Wikipedia page. Starring in the band, you have at least a few names that I'm familiar with. Just a few. You have Neil Morse in here. You have Mike Portnoy in here, so we can expect some really fantastic drumming. And Steve Morse as well. I'm not familiar, I can't say that I'm familiar too much with the other two names here. Casey McPherson in here, providing singing and lead vocals, I should say. And then David LaRue, who the name didn't stick up to me, but he has performed with Steve Morse before, many others, and Dixie Dregs, who we've listened to a little bit from them. So a nice mixture of musicians here. Listen, we're going to pull up the music right now. We will dive on into it, talk about it a little bit after. I'm pulling up the album right now, just trying to buy myself a little bit more time. And here we go. It's also the final track on the album. That shrieking guitar. My favorite secret plays its funeral song. The opening kind of reminds me of Muse a little bit, actually. I love that bass is taking lead. Really great opening. Getting to this. I really like that opening a lot. Okay.
skies, and I tried to save it. I looked through my own eyes, and I thought I'd made it. I thought I could reach the sky, but I'm stuck here on the ground. I wanted to drink wine from the captain's table. I saw in my mind's eye, but my hands weren't able. Searching for the air, but it all keeps coming down, down, coming down.
I love the ambience of the keys underneath this.
Searching for the air, but I'm stuck here on the ground. On the ground. On the ground.
Those are very 70s keys.
Searching for the air, but I'm stuck here on the ground now. Searching for the Searching for the Searching for the
Big thunderous drums from Bullhorn. I like that these strings were the leftovers. Change there. Threw me off. Is that the sweeping?
Neither more, I'm neither less, and I'm not trying to take some test, and I'm not trying to prove myself, and I'm not trying to run away from you. In all these years I've seen the changes take place, like the ice melting away, like the sun bringing the morning, and I know
It's very like
it was
folk
all for you.
way of singing that delivery there.
And when I get to walk the streets without this burden on my feet, I know I've been called home. These shoes won't be my own to fill. When I see the past beneath my heavy heart is finally free. I'm searching for the air, searching for the air, but I have found it's pound for pound. Underneath this cosmic symphony, underneath this pain, this happiness, and underneath the river and the stream, a will to live. I've given love, I've given hate,
I've given peace and I've made war, and I've been scarred by words and swords, but here I am, will to live. Yeah, when I get to walk these streets without a burden on these feet, I know I've been called home. This place will be my own again. When I feel the past beneath my heavy heart is finally free. Searching for the air, searching for the air, but I have found it's pound for pound.
That hits a really nice, almost folk rock kind of sound, like a southern rock sound. That's classic.
Searching for the air, searching for the air, but I have found it's pound for pound. One day I'll see you there, one day I'll see you there, but here and now
Big upright folk.
it's pound for pound. Pound for pound. Pound for pound.
Like a piano ends things just like it began to.
Pound for pound.
This track feels like a great conclusion to the album. I can't say anything to the rest of the album, but it has that final song, final track kind of wrap everything up, but throw in some fireworks at the same time. You know, close the storylines, close the plots, but let's go out with a bang, and perhaps literally a little bit of a whisper at the end as well. What I like about this track is that this kind of more modern progressive rock, right? This album came out in 2014. In case you're new here, in case it's your first time or you don't know, when I was in late high school through college, literally all I listened to was Dream Theater. I really didn't listen to a lot. I was a very much a prog music snob in the most stereotypical way. And so that's all I did, right? And then at some point, I just veered away from that completely. When I listen to music like this, it takes a lot to catch me because I've heard all this kind of sound before. But what I really like about this particular song is that in the middle section, because the track is divided into 3 different movements, in the middle section, that's when the band kind of goes off and goes a little bit heavier, goes a little bit more rock and progressive rock, and throws in those solos, a little bit more speed, a little bit more aggression. But on the parts preceding and coming after that, it's much more focused on melody. And when it came to progressive rock of like a modern era, that's what like I began to have a distaste for and kind of an averse reaction to. It was a lot of speed, a lot of time signatures, and of course, Dream Theater being the epitome of that. And after a while, it just wore thin on me, and so I don't even want to listen to that anymore. But I like how this track has so much focus on the actual composition when it comes to a melodic way. Not just throwing in solos, crazy time signatures, speed. Like, make a song. Make a song first. And I really like how this does that. You know, the first section especially, so let me get the names of these movements here. The first is Still Life of the World. And it sounds like a still life. It's very patient. It moves at a nice pace. This, the ambience underneath is wonderful. The bass taking lead here is what a wonderful way to start off that rhythm and give it a little bit of a flow, a little bit of a direct movement there. The bass, like I said, is going to be performed by Dave LaRue, who, like I mentioned before, we have heard from Dixie Dregs. And it sounds really wonderful. There's almost a little bit of a jazz fusion taste in there, which of course be inspired and coming from that background phase from. And I just love how that starts off and kind of moves us along in a really nice pace. There's kind of a stormy cloud beginning as well. But the bass is what takes it there. And the singing from Casey McPherson, can I say from beginning to end, really great. Really fantastic. You know, the way that he has kind of a certain enunciation, a certain way of rolling some of the ends of his words and syllables that I find really pleasurable. I think that sounded really great in here. And I like how on the third movement, which is Pound for Pound, which we did hear him singing quite a few times, I like how his voice, he kind of moves into a little bit more, in my opinion, of a almost classic 70s Southern rock folk inspired kind of sound there. There's something about the way he sings at the end that just makes me think of that. Like this could really, that could absolutely be in that particular era. And I think he sings it with such conviction that he pulls it off wonderfully. And that's not a sound I may always enjoy, but he does it brilliantly. Now, Mike Portnoy, of course he's going to be amazing, his drumming. Can I say, the middle section, he really gets to kind of play around a little bit more, especially in that one section where you have the hits and then the fills coming after. And I really like the production on his drums. Specifically, I'm thinking and feeling the toms. There's a thunderous pounding with the way that he plays, but the production allows that to ring out just a little bit more. I don't know if I can find it so quick, but if I go to the middle, and it gets to the part where he's rolling. I don't know if I can find it so quick. It's around here, I think. Yeah, his fills here. If you listen behind it at certain moments, there's like a little bit of an extra spark behind the way that the toms are produced, and I really like that. I think that depth, it just rings out so wonderfully. And that middle section, like I said, that's when this song really comes alive in a certain way, and you know, you get this kind of upward slope in the track, and then it comes down at the end, but never losing focus. And I like that middle section because it does go off a little bit, but it just expands and kind of rocks out to the ideas that were kind of placed in the beginning. And that section there where, of course, the vocals ring out true and the drums are kind of going off. You eventually get the solo that comes in here from Morse. Steve, that is. And I like how, for the most part, besides the ending of it, it's more focused on that kind of anthemic holding the notes and just providing seismic activity rather than speed and, you know, time signature changes. Like, it feels more streamlined. And when it comes to progressive rock, and I'm talking in general, but I'm more focused on modern, I like this. I like where it feels like the song comes first and the performance is used to enhance. The sheer talent of the musicians is used to enhance that. It's more colors added to a palette so that the painting doesn't come out so monochromatic. You can add hues and vibrancy and just different shades to it. You know, that's but the painting is the focus instead of the colors. The colors are just there to enhance. And I think that they do it brilliantly here. If I can back up to the beginning. Doesn't that bass sound good? I know I talked about it already. I know I mentioned it already. But I just really like the way that the bass led things. And of course I have a bass bias, but his singing, can I tell you? I mentioned it while it was playing, but that whole first section reminds me a lot of Muse. And I think that sounds great. I love that vibe that they come after and play there. And his singing also reminds me a little bit, in perhaps the delivery of Chris Cornell. Just a tad, especially in that first section. And he goes through different shades. Like I said, in the middle section, we just rock out. But then we nicely come back down here at the end. He has that, he's got a little of that Cornell kind of, there's a certain way, like I said, he rounds his notes there. And I like how it ends beautifully as well with the piano, the same way that it began. I like that a lot. This was a really good track. So the first movement, Still Life of the World. The moon is stained with midnight tears of fortune. Tainted pastures, scarecrows point to no one. My favorite cigarette plays its funeral song, A Still Life of the World. Shrinking Violet. And another thing, can I say? The track is almost 12 minutes long. Didn't feel like it at all. I don't think one moment of this dragged. Shrinking Violet, wounded by her mother. Old men sleep while porcelain screams take over. And the wolf disguises her undying lover. A Still Life of the World. Okay, so we're just taking a moment of life, so to speak. Searching for the air is the next. I took in the sunrise and I tried to save it. I looked through my own eyes and I thought I've made it. I thought I could reach the sky, but I'm stuck here on the ground. I wanted to drink wine from the captain's table. I saw in my mind's eye, but my hands weren't able. I saw it in my head, but my hands weren't able to perhaps put to action or to use or do what your mind could see. Searching for the air, but it all keeps coming down, coming down. I'm searching for the air, but I'm stuck here on the ground now. So he wants more out of it. Searching for the air, but I'm stuck here. Searching for the air. There's something that he wants, as also indicated from that I see in my mind's eye, but my hands weren't able. He has a goal. He has something that he wants. It's a lofty goal. It's high up there. And for right now, at the present, he's stuck on the ground. But maybe, just maybe, with some, who knows, effort, some sort of action, some sort of event, he can make it. But also he says searching for air. You need air to live. Maybe there's something life-affirming he's looking for. Pound for pound is the third movement. I'm neither more, I'm neither less. I'm not trying to take some test, and I'm not trying to prove myself. I'm not trying to run away from you. In all these years, I've seen the changes take place, like the ice melting away, like the sun bring in the morning, and I know it was all for you. And when I get to walk the streets without this burden on my feet, I know I've been called home. These shoes won't be my own to fill. When I see past beneath, my heavy heart is finally free. It's an interesting line. I know I've been called home. Accepting of death, these shoes won't be my own to fill. If you're not filling your own shoes, perhaps you leave that to the next generation. Perhaps you leave that to your children to fill your shoes, right? I'm searching for air, but I have found it's pound for pound, equivalent exchange. Underneath this cosmic symphony, underneath this pain, this happiness, and underneath the river stream, a will to live. That's what we're looking for. See, something life-affirming. I've given love, I've given hate, I've given peace, and I've made a war. And I've been scarred by words and swords, but here I am, the will to live. I like how he says underneath this cosmic symphony. As a symphony takes place in the cosmos, and under that, here we are. But then he goes even further. Underneath the happiness, the hate, the streams, under all this is the will to live. When you come down to it. And when I get to walk these streets without a burden on these feet, I'll know I've been called home. When you can walk without the burden. We can have that freedom. This place will be my own again. When I feel the past beneath, my heavy heart is finally free. And then that chorus repeats there again. And he says, one day I'll see you there, but here and now is pound for pound. One day, he hopes to be reunited with his loved ones. I imagine in the afterlife of sorts. That's what I'm kind of reading this as. But for right now, this is how things kind of shape up. This is the cycle of life, basically. And what a positive song, too. Like the music is very affirming. It's very uplifting. And I really like that. This is a really good track. I enjoyed the music quite a bit. And I like how, in my opinion, it doesn't fall into some of those stereotypes of, a progressive rock track. They did a great job with this one. Let me know what you guys thought, of course, in the comments down below. I hope that you enjoyed the music. As always, I appreciate you being here and stopping on by. Kelly, thank you once again for the suggestion and for the request. And I forgot to mention, but I also saw that Sidecar Dog. You mentioned this particular track about 6 months ago or so. So thank you as well for the recommendation. Hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Please come back by again tomorrow, and I will see you all then. Bye, guys.